Tony D and Little Joan with a Screenwriter's Rant for True Lies, the TV series reboot on CBS. Yeah. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 8. I will be at the Flemington, New Jersey Book Fest this Sunday, May 29th. If you'd like to get a book and get it signed, hope to see you there. All right, let's get into this. So it's a TV series based on True Lies. You know, the movie that starred Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis, which was a pretty funny movie. And also Tom Arnold. So here's Jamie Lee Curtis' role, and she's the housewife. Here's Arnold Schwarzenegger's role. He's not a musclehead, but he looks like a spy, I guess. And she wonders what her husband really does. Here's the guy playing the Tom Arnold role. And, of course, she follows him and pressures him until she finds out he's a spy. And then wackiness ensues until she's brought on to the team to also be a spy. And then she becomes a spy. Hooray! Coming soon. It's an original, a CBS original. There's a word you're really stretching the definition of. Why are you doing this? Look. This makes no sense to do, and I'll tell you why. It's a fish out of water story of a woman who discovers her husband is a spy. That works for a movie. It doesn't work for a TV show. It just doesn't work for a TV show. Because a TV show is more than one plot. Yeah, based on the blockbuster. Here's their kids and their babysitter who's a trained assassin. Ha ha ha. It doesn't work for a TV show. It just doesn't work. Because they are going to have to keep doing this. Episode after episode. She's very gorgeous, by the way. Episode after episode, they're going to have to keep doing this. And so the fish out of water part evaporates. It completely evaporates. She's not going to be a fish out of water. She's joining the team. And I assume getting training as a spy. For some reason. Because that's how they recruit spies. Oh, your wife find out? Oh, okay, she's on the team now. That's not how you recruit spies. Okay? I hope not. I hope that's not how it's created. Oh, how did you get... well, my husband was in it. So they just dragged me into it. No, they usually they recruit guys who are like ex-military, super smart guys. They put them through some kind of training. And then they sit around at a desk and hack computers and make pronouncements about how we should invade the Ukraine. This is the kind of analysis they do now. Look, when spy stuff was big on television and in movies, from executive producer James Cameron, by the way, when spy stuff was big, the reason it was big is because we were in the Cold War. I'll leave this one on. We were in the Cold War, and the enemy was the Soviet Union. They had money. They had other countries. So our spies would go to embassies and have fancy dinners and, undermine the Soviet mission. And there was a Casablanca-like element to it all because there was an opponent more or less equal to the United States. That doesn't exist anymore. Okay? And I've said this for the spy stuff. I said this is why James Bond has to go back to a period piece in the early 60s so he could be Bond again, so all the tropes work. Making it modern doesn't help because the kind of enemies the United States and the West goes after are people who are, for instance, terrorists. You think ISIS has fancy dinner parties and invites people over? You think the Taliban does that? Not saying they're all terrorists, but they've got their issues. You think you'd think any of these groups that the United States currently is fighting, are going to have a fancy socialite party for these two to infiltrate and work? I don't think so. No. And these guys don't work this way anymore. They don't go to Paris for spy stuff. That's not where they go. They go to places where the world is unraveling, like Africa, the Middle East. Yeah, they go all over the world, but it's not this anymore, and we all know that. Back in the day, it wasn't that way either, but at least there was the semblance of importance. And James Bond was big, and that's why they did The Saint and Get Smart and The Avengers and a few other spy type shows that were out there. They were hot. They're not hot anymore. So, and just sort of, oh, we got a trademark sitting around, let's revamp it. That's not a good idea. You got literally, CBS must have hundreds of trademarks. Who are they owned by? Paramount, right? I think they're part of Paramount. They must have literally hundreds of trademarks. And this is the trademark you decided to spin into a TV show? Why? Because one guy in corporate who holds the purse strings had fond memories of this movie? That's not a reason to greenlight this reboot. Okay? You need something that makes sense in terms of a TV show. Something that has more of a story to tell. True Lies told its story. There was only one story, and it barely held together enough just to make that story. It was a pretty decent movie. I enjoyed it. You know, it was fun. It wasn't meant to be like a Shakespeare. But Jesus, a whole TV show? You can't stretch the jokes out on a TV show. There was no more story to tell. Once Jamie Lee Curtis found out her husband was a spy, it was over. The story was literally over. It was that and the fallout of that, and that's it. That's it. That was the whole movie. You can't stretch this out into a series that's going to last 5 seasons. 5 seasons. By the end of the first season, half a season, you'd be done with that story. And then what? Then what do you do? You basically just have a spy show. You could do Mr. and Mrs. Smith, maybe. You know, a couple hitmen, you know, finding out each other are hitmen and trying to kill each other, and then they don't, and then go kill other people, I guess. Again, it changes the whole story arc. I mean, you could just do an original show. How about that? How about an original show? Why you have to drag True Lies into it? Oh, right. People remember that. Yeah, they do. They remember it. That's the exact reason you don't want to do this. Because they're going to go, oh, that's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's not Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, I guess they're too old. Well, let's see. Yeah, this is kind of what I remember. And then what? Oh, you're telling me the TV writers are so damn talented? Oh, they'll just come up with something. And you're going to give them that stretch of runway, CBS, to really, exercise their creative chops. Oh, all of a sudden now they're good writers? If they're that good writers, they could come up with something original. TV writers are, look, I respect them because a lot of them are animals, right? The soap opera guys, they're crazy. I don't know how you do it. I have a huge amount of respect for the soap opera writers because they just grind it out, man, and they have to, and they do it every day. No, not every week. Every day they got to do that. They got to do that. And they got to do cliffhangers, and they got to just grind it out. Regular TV guys, weekly show guys. Do you see what happened to Game of Thrones? That was an example of going from, in my view, novel writing, writing based on a novel with super detail and layers and all kinds of stuff going into TV writing. I mean, there's been a few bright spots in the world in television. You look at the old Star Trek, but they hired guys who were fantastic writers from science fiction to write that show, the original Star Trek. They don't do that anymore. Do you think the great spy writers are writing this show? You think they got great comedians on this show? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. It already looks like it's gonna try to be semi-serious. Well, they're spies. They're spies. It's kind of serious. Yeah, because you kind of got to keep it serious in order for the comedy to sort of work, so she can keep saying, oh my God, we were nearly killed. Again and again and again. Except that's kind of going to happen to her all the time. So by the end of season 1, why would she keep saying that? This becomes routine. But then again, spy stuff shouldn't be routine. I mean, maybe if you were going to do a full-blown comedy like Get Smart, right? And the comedy move wouldn't be to make her a spy, wouldn't be to have her join the team, would be to have her go, oh, you're a spy. Well, I don't see why we still can't have a relationship. I don't see why we still can't go on vacation. That to me would be the comedy move. Like, she keeps going, okay, fine, you're a spy. Well, I still want my vacation. I still want my second honeymoon. You still got to take the kids to soccer practice. Why should I have to do it all the time? Look, you chose to be a spy and you lied to me. You owe me. That to me would be funny. And the spy stuff would be secondary. And then I could kind of tolerate the show because at least they're going for the laughs. You mean to tell me you're going to do stunts like this every week like a Mission Impossible? Please, don't even try, CBS. I know you're not going to do that. All the freaking trademarks you must have in your library. Why pull this one? Why drag True Lies into it? I mean, there has to be at least a dozen trademarks that you guys probably own where they're and just movies that maybe even barely heard of. And who the F remembers this movie, right? Okay, yeah, there's a few people, I guess, in their 40s and 50s and maybe 30s who remember True Lies. They saw it on a rerun or whatever, but I think it came out in the 90s, didn't it? Late 90s? Early 2000s, latest? You know, you're talking 20, 30 years ago. There are people who were born after that. They don't remember this movie. Who is this for? I'm done. I'm done. Thank you for tuning in. Check me out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more base takes. We got a Hollywoke hot take and a news blast. I will be at the Flemington Summer Book Fest this Sunday, so check me out. Joan and I will see you tomorrow.